All right, so a lot of people been asking me what is going on with the case regarding former Wayne County Sheriff's deputies Mike Cox and Chris Worth. Now, back in August of last year, both of these law enforcement officers were arrested by federal agents, federal authorities, from charges ranging from conspiracy to traffic drugs, mail fraud, lying to a federal agent, and a bid rigging scheme, which cheated the city out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, the last time I talked about this was probably back in December, when both gentlemen was supposed to have a court case at the end of December. Then, according to articles put out by the New Old North, both of the men, or rather Mike Cox, he requested a continuance or a motion for extension of time to file pretrial motions and consent motion to continue the arraignment. Basically, he filed pretty much a continuance. When you go to court and you're not ready to handle the case in regular state court, you ask for a continuance to hire a lawyer or, to get your case together. And the judge granted him that continuance, and the continuance was supposed to be only for a month, meaning Mike Cox would have supposed to went to trial in January the 29th of this year. However, since then, Mike Cox's lawyer once again filed another motion for extension of time to file pretrial motions and to continue the arraignment. Now, that motion was also granted by the judge in the case. And so now, Mike Cox will not go to court until April the 23rd, which is about 3 months from now. Now, Mike Cox, unlike Worth, is still in federal custody because the judge denied him bail on 2 occasions when he applied for bail. And the magistrate judge, James Gates, who denied his bail, characterized Cox as a danger to his community based on clear and convincing evidence, which was enough to convict you, which he told Cox, or convicts Cox. And that evidence is, of course, all of the texts between him and alleged drug dealers, the evidence of him being the catalyst for a home invasion or a robbery, even the fact that he threatened the boyfriend of his 17-year-old daughter, which was also like a 17-year-old kid. So the judge denied him that bail, and the basis for his continuance is that they are hoping to continue discussions with the government regarding a non-trial disposition. Now, in layman's terms, that's either one or two options. Michael Cox is discussing with authorities the terms of a plea agreement. Now, a plea agreement is when you go to the district attorney, or in this case, the federal prosecuting attorney, and you try to work out a deal. Say, okay, well, I'm facing 25 years. I'll plead guilty, and I'll plead guilty for a sentence of 15 years. Now, that's one option, which I think is not what they're doing. The other option is, once again, he's hoping to continue discussions with the government regarding a non-trial disposition, which leads me to believe that those discussions are a way for him to get out completely of the crimes he committed by basically informing or, throwing other individuals under the bus who may have also been involved in criminal activity as a law enforcement officer. And once again, they delayed it for 3 months. And, I've heard that there may be more arrests coming. So if Mike Cox is in there talking, then, that may be the case. Or, once again, he just may be, trying to pull all stops and, get all recommendations to ensure that, he gets the best deal. Now, Chris Worth, on the other hand, he is not in federal custody, and I have to wonder why, because most of the people that I know, and I'm going to say I'll say 90 to 95% of the people that I've ever heard that, hey, the feds picked him up, or yeah, the feds got him, or the feds picked up that case. 95% of the individuals, almost 100% of the individuals never get bond. So once again, that leads me to question what Chris Worth is doing. Now, Chris Worth is out on bond, but he is not slated to appear in court until February the 27th. Which is actually one day after my birthday. So if y'all want to send me some Cash App, Rich Money, 7777. But that's neither here nor there. But basically, he was let out under certain terms of conditions of probation. Now, here's a couple of the terms of conditions of his probation. The article says he must submit to supervision by the U.S. Probation Office. He may not travel outside of the Eastern District of North Carolina. And also he must avoid all contact, directly or indirectly, with any person who is or may be a victim or witness in the investigation or prosecuting, including former or current Wayne County employees, except for his son, with whom he shall not discuss the case. Now, evidently, his son is a present or current employee of Wayne County. But once again, that condition is somewhat seems hard to complete, being that Chris Worth has been a long-standing member of the sheriff department. I'm sure he has friends, associates, and other members of the community who he has forged and formed relationships and bonds over the years, who probably is going to, continue to keep in contact with him by discreet means or maybe indiscreet means, because once again, their actions have shown that they have no regard for law or, the ethical aspects of the job that they were sworn to uphold and perform. Another condition, which actually seems contradictory. Now, listen to these other two conditions. Now, the first says he must not possess a firearm, a destructive device, or other weapon of any kind, right? So this means that he is not supposed to be in possession of any firearm. But the next condition seems contradictory. Listen to what the next condition says. It says he must not destroy any firearms he owns. So how is he supposed to not be in possession of a firearm, but also he's commanded to not destroy any firearms he owns? So evidently, if he owns a firearm, he's in direct violation of the other condition, which means he must not possess a firearm. Now, the second part of that last condition says he shall provide the government a current inventory of them. So once again, when you have an inventory of something, that means you have it somewhere in your possession. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm stupid. But the previous condition said he is not to possess a firearm. So I'm not understanding that condition. Once again, maybe because of his status of law enforcement, he may be allowed to possess firearms long as he provide the government an inventory of them. And also he must turn over to the FBI any files or physical evidence taken from the Wayne County Sheriff's Office. And once again, Chris Worth has been seen by people, according to some phone calls I've gotten around the city. I think around the city of Mount Olive, somebody seen him. But also somebody said, and I'm not, alleging that this is true, but somebody said, well, yeah, he's still working. He's driving around in an unmarked Jeep, like a Ford Escape or something, gray, or what have you. Once again, I have not seen him. So, that's just, I guess, speculation from other people who may have seen him. But nevertheless, these two gentlemen are in a precarious position because, once again, it seems to me that they are trying to strike a deal, meaning they may be, what many call on the street snitching or working for the government. Because once again, Chris Worth was out, within days. So, he might have struck that deal immediately. And Mike Cox hasn't been in there fighting for a bail, which has not been granted unto him. So, apparently we're going to have to wait. Their trial, once again, will be held before the Chief Judge, Richard E. Myers II, might I add, in Wilmington, North Carolina. Chris Worth's trial will be held arraignment, not trial, arraignment. So basically, once again, the arraignment is not a trial. The arraignment is when they bring forth the evidence to say, okay, we can charge you. We're going to arraign you on these charges, and then they'll have a trial. So Cox is scheduled to appear more than 3 months on April the 23rd for his arraignment, and Chris Worth is scheduled to appear about a month and a half for his arraignment. So we're going to keep you up to date on these happenings, but these individuals seem to be trying their best to delay the inevitable or try to work out a deal to bring them the best results of their action. But once again, this is Richard Taylor. My number is 919-587-7782. If you have any information pertaining to any instances in this case, feel free to call. Actually, I ran into a young brother today, and he asked me. He said he'd been watching the videos, and he said, you think I can get a lawsuit, from Mike Cox, because he charged me with a felony, some years ago, and that's the only felony on my record. And he went on to explain, how he, admittedly got caught with drugs, but the amount of the drugs were not enough to be charged with trafficking. But Mike Cox added to the drug. Now, we can't discount his testimony because we seen what Mike Cox has done, with filing false charges and protecting people and moving drugs from one spot to the next, to placate certain individuals or even, help other individuals avoid prosecution. So I don't discount this man's testimony of how he were caught with let's say, okay, it was cocaine. I don't know what it was. Let's say it was a cocaine, right? And an ounce of cocaine is 28 grams. And so 28 grams would charge you with trafficking. Anything less than 28 grams, as long as you don't have it bagged up, is just simple possession of cocaine. So if you have 25 grams of cocaine and it's just in a bag, and you don't have it bagged up for distribution, the only thing they can charge you with is simple possession of cocaine, which is still a felony, but it's not trafficking in cocaine, which in North Carolina, that's an automatic sentence of 35 to 42 months. In layman terms, 3 to 3.5 years. So what this gentleman is alleging, he might have had 25 grams of cocaine, but when Cox got hold of it, all of a sudden, it was 29 grams, and he was charged with a felony. So I told the young man, well, you probably do have a case, but it might not, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, he might not be able to pursue that case until Mike Cox get convicted or, for lack of a better word, strikes a deal. And as I mentioned before in several videos that I've covered this, there's no telling how many individuals that Mike Cox wrongfully arrested, wrongfully harassed, planted evidence on maybe, or even once again increased the amount of evidence that they have on file to exasperate or exacerbate the charges. I mean, multiply the charges, or people whose guns he took in and didn't report it but still charged them. So there's a lot of people out there that has been affected by Mike Cox's criminal activity that may have a recourse or some reparations in court. But nevertheless, we're going to try to keep up with this and possibly help other people who've been a victim of Mike Cox lawlessness. Peace and blessings.